Good morning, everyone. My name is Ken Rich. I'm with the city's Office of Economic and Workforce Development. Welcome to a beautiful day in beautiful Visitacion Valley. We are incredibly excited to celebrate this milestone in the coming development of the Schlage Lock site. For myself, speaking particularly for myself, I've been working on this project since 1999. Thank God that we didn't know in 1999 that it was going to take 15 years, but we are finally here. And I think we are incredibly excited. I have to say that in my career as a planner and real estate development in the city, this is one of the most exciting moments and the most exciting projects to see happening, 1,700 units of housing in this beautiful neighborhood. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mayor Ed Lee to say a few words to start us off.
Thank you, Ken. Well, welcome, as Ken said, to our Visitacion Valley neighborhood. I must say, we wanted you to come down here this morning to take a look before real big mounds of dirt start moving, because I think everybody should appreciate what we began with. And for a number of years now, 15 years is around the time when Schlage Lock as a company closed. And when that happened, this community certainly registered some strong views about what this lot should be converted to. And the neighborhood has been persistent for some 15 years. They've never given up the hope that this would somehow be a place where it can complement the changing dynamics of this neighborhood, to complement what they wanted and what they needed to have happen in this neighborhood. And the city, Universal Paragon Corporation, the various agencies were there, and we got slowed down. It slowed down with the elimination of redevelopment. We had definitely some visions that were reflected of the neighborhood needs here through that agreement. But when it became slowed down, we all decided we weren't going to let that stop us. And particularly Supervisor Cohen, her creativity, her pushing, along with our city staff who also wanted to see things happen. But most importantly, the neighbors, I just can't say enough about them. They're persistent, if anything, but also full of positive vigor, if you will. And now we have in front of us a very deliberate plan that will create some 1,679 homes for people here. 15% of that will be permanently affordable to low-income persons. But also, given the fact that there hasn't been that much development in this area, the rest of it, and we would suggest that all of the housing units will be accessible to people with middle incomes for the entire city. And that's going to be one of the biggest contributions to the goal that we announced at the beginning of this year of some 30,000 units of housing that must be built to give the pressure off of the current housing stock and to build more of that where people can actually see their ability to get into these homes. That's going to be the exciting, biggest part of this. But at the same time, the community wasn't just about the housing. That's a key anchor. They were also about open space. So you'll see and you can visualize, hopefully here with the plans that they have, over 2 acres of new open space. Thanks to the TA and Tilly's here today. She's contributed, well, not her money, but the agency's money, but also complementing what we all wanted to do, to use transportation monies to build roads and roadways and access through this site, and complementing this site so that we have those amenities as well reflected. And then we've got an agreement with a private corporation that I think has been so strong in this effort. And of course, they asked for help whenever there was another challenge, and we kept that communication very strong because they knew at some point in time they're going to pay over $10 million of impact fees to the city. And that's incredible, again, with a private sector that has a lot of confidence in the city. I've always said that the city is investor confident, but we need to make things happen at the scale in which the community is honored, the companies, the investors' money and time is honored, and that's a big, huge factor, but also that the city agencies come together. And we look forward now to going to city planning, to going to public works, and ultimately the final guidance that Supervisor Cohen will help lead is the final approval at the Board of Supervisors. And then we can see this first spade of dirt turnover. In addition to honoring this, we've got a historic building right up behind us that will be rehabilitated and honored for that historic design that they have. And then again, reflection of the community uses. Some 25% of that building will be preserved for community use. We also have, I think, a full-service grocery store that's still in the minds that we're going to be very creative in making sure we get that as well. All great planning, all great reflection of community need and leadership. I want to, again, thank all the neighborhood leaders for being so persistent and again, creative with us when the challenges came. I want to just take another opportunity to thank Supervisor Cohen for her leadership, because all of this would not have happened if all the different players didn't have a positive perspective about this. We could have always taken the negative and put a blame on, easily to blame things that we didn't control. And yet, I think we're here today to celebrate the collaboration that's going on, private, community, government agencies, and all the other entities that want this thing to happen. So congratulations, everyone, behind me and in front of me, but most importantly, congratulations to the great neighborhood of Visitacion Valley. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Our next speaker is Supervisor Malia Cohen of this District 10, who's been, as you've heard, a tireless supporter and promoter of this project, and who has been calling me once a week for the last I don't know how long, saying, when is this going to be done? So it's now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us today on this very joyous occasion. I'm so proud to stand with the community, with the mayor and members of the city family, as well as UPC, for this remarkable moment. We're here today at a monumental milestone, not only for the Visitacion Valley community, but for the entire city and county of San Francisco. The road to where we are today is somewhat like the road that you traveled up today. It was bumpy and sometimes pretty treacherous. But it hasn't been easy. But we've had many meetings. We've had to change course. We were faced with challenges along the way. But ultimately, the community has prevailed and continues to fight for a vision that started 15 years ago. 15 years ago, a vision that comes at a very important point for our city. It's no accident that we are here today. It's by design. And we're at a time when we need to continue advocating to keep San Francisco affordable for everyone. We're here at a time when we must keep pushing for housing that's accessible to all people, particularly paying attention to low and middle income families. This project, which will help deliver almost 1,700 units of housing with 15% dedicated to below market rate housing, is part of our fight. Right, Mayor? It's part of our fight to keep San Francisco affordable for everyone in our great city. Now, when we lost the redevelopment funding in 2012, we didn't give up. We didn't lose hope. And the community didn't give up on us. All of us here, standing in front of us and behind us, the Mayor's Office of Planning, Universal Paragon, and of course, the people of this community, came together to evaluate the project's feasibility, to look at funding tools, to help us move this project forward and make the necessary changes needed to foster this site transformation. The project that we see here today is a brilliant example of how the community and the city family and the developer can come together and make positive development choices a reality here in the city. I'm very pleased that this project is finally providing Viz Valley and its vibrant, committed community an economic boost, one that when you go and you look down the Merchant Quarter, that you can see that we are in dire need of. It's time for us to get the attention that we need and we deserve right here along the southernmost part of San Francisco. The community, especially the members who have been part of the former CAC, and also I want to acknowledge the current advisory board members, many of them who are here with us today. They've worked tirelessly and they have dedicated numerous hours, countless hours, in shaping this project and making it a reality. And thank you to each and every one of you for your vision to keep alive our goal. I'm looking forward to our ongoing collaboration as we continue to build out and reshape our community. I particularly want to acknowledge those that have been with us through this entire process. The Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development, thank you very much for your leadership. I want to acknowledge also the Planning Department, the San Francisco CTA, MTA, PUC, DPW, as well as OCII. I know that's a lot of letters, but each and every one of them have been an integral part of this team. Also want to acknowledge RPD. And of course, all of the members of the advisory body who you will hear from shortly. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the very near future at our groundbreaking celebration.
Thank you, Supervisor. Our next speaker is Jonathan Sharpman, Managing Director of Development for Universal Paragon Corporation. Jonathan has rolled with the punches as we lost redevelopment funding. He never lost focus. He knew that we would get this done, and here he is today to speak with you.
Thank you, Ken, and what a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. I want to first thank the Mayor for your leadership in helping create or preserve over 30,000 units of housing for our great city. Thank you for your persistence there, Mr. Mayor. And to Supervisor Cohen, for your relentless commitment to the neighborhoods of Southeast San Francisco. This lady is a fighter for the people, and we appreciate your work down here in the Valley. To the countless city officials and staff who have stayed with this project for many, many years, some who are here today, many who have moved on to either retirement or the private sector, but their silent contributions cannot be overstated. Thank you so very much to the city staff from multiple agencies. At the state level, we have the DTSC and the CPCFA and Cal Reuse who have overseen the remediation of this site over time and have put in countless hours of coordination to make sure that the future development of this site is according to state regulations and the health and safety of the public and all the people working here during construction and during the occupancy period are taken care of. To our staff at UPC, not the least of which is Mr. Stephen Huang, who've put so many nights and weekends, countless, into this effort. Thank you so very much. And our partners, our remediation partners at Brownfield Partners, who helped put together the structure for this remediation program so we could focus with our city partners on the redevelopment of the site. And most importantly, I want to thank the members of this community. You have redefined for me the term tenacity. I can't speak highly enough of the efforts that have been made on this community to fight for the revitalization of the Valley, to finally bring some of those dollars that are being invested in downtown San Francisco to this part of town. I want to thank you all, and we look forward to our continued partnership to bring economic vitality down in the Valley. Now, just a historic reference, when we started this, Bill Clinton was in the White House. Willie Brown was in City Hall. The Giants were still playing at Candlestick across the highway over here. And my 14-year-old son was not yet born. Now, Schlage Lock had a proud history as the largest employer in this part of San Francisco for over 75 years. And we must not forget the valuable contribution that they made over that time. You know, in 2009, when we kicked off the remediation program, some of the over 1,200 employees of Schlage Lock, who spent generations contributing and building their homes and building this community here in the valley, joined us and told some remarkable stories of their time. And we're here to remember them as well and look forward to having their stories shared later. But what's happened since then? Well, in 2010, the historically used production facilities for the lock and key factories were taken down, and with the help of the city and the help of the state, our company invested over $25 million of private capital in the remediation of the legacy soil and groundwater contamination on this site. Now, after 15 years, it's really time for us to get to work. So we're looking forward to the first phase of construction, which we hope will bring up to 575 new housing units to the northern portion of this site, including, as the mayor said, a full-service grocery store, the first park to be delivered, called Leland Park, that will also serve as a key pedestrian connection with the help of our friends from the transportation agencies to the Bayshore Caltrain station, which is now cut off from downtown Visitacion Valley. So this is also a key piece of transportation access that will be here for the valley and contribute to the reduction of congestion on our highways and the associated contribution of greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere. That investment in the first phase should top $230 million. And we're looking forward to working with the city and working with the community to make it so. So it's time to get to work. I look forward to turning some dirt and appreciate everybody coming to celebrate this great milestone with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our next speaker is Fran Martin, who, in my mind at least, is synonymous with the Visitacion Valley community and all of its hard work. Fran and I go back to 1999. We've agreed, we've disagreed, but we've always moved things forward, and I think she's here to tell you how happy she is that we're finally at this day. Fran.
Wow. Can't believe we're all here. I want to thank Mayor Lee, Supervisor Cohen, and all the other city officials and staff, particularly from the Transportation Authority. Tilly Chang has been involved with this valley, for 15 years. Now she's head of the Transportation Authority. And also Planning Department, Ken, he's almost like a son. And OEWD, and we've been working closely with them all these years. Thank you all for coming out to Visitacion Valley today, as well as Jonathan Sharpman, who actually lives here, and his staff from UPC, in particular Stephen. It's gratifying to see Schlage Lock Development planning advance to this point. Remarkably, it has been 15 years since this process began, and my husband's in my living room with just a few committed neighbors, some of whom are here today, Ann Seaman and Marlene Tran. Thank you for coming. You've been here all along. Our numbers grew with the realization that Schlage Lock was a key to our community's survival and revitalization. To this day, we have advocated for our primary goal of community planning. We initiated the Visitacion Valley Developers Fee, which helped fund our new library and Leland Avenue streetscape improvements. We initiated bringing redevelopment to Visitacion Valley, and in an epic fashion, our little neighborhood defeated two powerful multinationals in our quest to fulfill our vision for a better neighborhood. Take that, Home Depot.
Yes.
From the beginning, this has been a community-driven process. It has been a long-fought battle and hopefully will result in what we envisioned from the outset, which is a cleanup of a toxic eyesore, done, in the middle of our community, and its transformation into a beautiful, healthy community that will physically and spiritually unify the entire valley with new parks, jobs, housing, and retail. along with the restoration of the old office building so that it may serve as a valuable and vital community resource. We still seek to transform Viz Valley to be a model for green transportation-oriented development and that will help replenish affordable housing stock in San Francisco. Although we have reached this important milestone, we still have a long way to go. Since the loss of redevelopment, we need the city to help us bring our neighborhood up to the standards of the rest of the city in an expeditious manner. Thank you again, everybody.
And last but not least, Doug Fong, another committed community member who came along not after Fran and has been with us the whole way through. Doug.
Wow. Thank you to everybody. 7, 8 meetings, years of meetings is a lot of meetings and a lot of details. In all those meetings, all those community meetings, it started out with the Planning Alliance's effort to stop the Home Depot development proposals. I'm always amazed whenever I come to these meetings about the fact that there are always 4 generations of Visitacion Valley residents that come. All little toddlers crawling along the grounds, and people, with their walkers, and everybody in between. People of all races and backgrounds. We always have translators at our meetings. It's just a fantastic, fantastic community, a fantastic neighborhood. And much in the fashion of all great San Francisco neighborhoods, this has been one. And this is one that only recently, I think, that central city government has started to pay attention to. It's always been a kind of quiet community, except for known for sometimes some unfortunate crime incidents and things such as that. But when you really get into the community and you participate in it, you find that it's a community that not only represents all kinds of San Franciscans, but one which, if you're willing to work with us, we're willing to help you make it happen. Now, we couldn't make it happen without all the great work for all the city departments that came, and especially. And we've got a fantastic developer here. How many developers would come in, right, into an environment where they don't even own the land? It's being owned by a company that, marginally wants to sell it and isn't even sure. It's toxic. They're looking at investments of tens of millions of dollars before even getting to this point now. So, I'm just glad to be here today to kick off this moment, because there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and to thank everybody who's been involved, and especially the developer, and to know that. And to promise that the community is going to be here all the way to the end of this thing. And we haven't even started turning over soils now. There's a lot of review about designs, a lot of review about exactly how construction processes are done, exactly how these new parks of ours are going to be developed and maintained. But this thing is a great, huge upshot for this community, which has deserved it for so long. Not only the residences, not only the parks, but especially the jobs and the employment opportunities, I think that our young people here are really looking forward to. So thanks to everybody. Mayor Lee, thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone. That's the end of our program. I want to remind all of you to be with us at the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors for the approvals, which will be happening in May, June, and early part of July. And also, staff will be available for any questions after the program. Thank you again for coming.